We got a comment here asking if we could start today's show with a daily devotion. And I'm not going to be able to provide that for you, but Nate, maybe I can be kind of the Job figure of today's show because you are outside in front of what looks to be a beautiful tree nursery of some sort, and it looks like a beautiful spring day.
Can confirm. Yes.
Here's my problem, Nate. I am losing right now. I am losing left and right. The one change in ambiance, actually, there are two notable changes in ambiance in my home studio here today. One is that, no, don't get too excited by this cloud of what appears to be vapor rising through my office. I know my brand, and I don't reject it at this point. I'm happy to embrace it. But this is in here because I dug out a humidifier that I forgot was in our closet because, Nate,
yes.
I got to tell you, this can be a medical on my draft report card. Maybe this is an off the field concern.
Yes.
I do not think right now I could do this show in the location you are doing the show from. It's in my eyes. It's in my nose. I'm losing my voice. I can't sleep. The dogs go outside and roll around. They go roll around in a bunch of dandelions and whatnot. And Scout and Hopper come back in. They're both, their bellies rubbing in grass. They're not very big.
Powder and God knows whatever,
Nate, I got two damn bumblebees living in this house. I have two bumblebees, and all they want to do is rub themselves in my face as soon as they come back inside. I'm on the couch, Hops in my face. I lay in bed, Scout's in my face. And would you
like some more pollen?
It's what they're doing. It's what they're doing to me constantly. And then you might think, okay, Josh, well, you're being a little bit dramatic. Lots of people have allergies, and yes, that's true.
Yes.
I've had seasonal allergies forever. And hey, listen, just before everybody brings it out, I'm taking the meds. I've got the nasal spray. I've tried cayenne pepper and local honey. I've done it. You got more suggestions? I'll hear it. But I've tried it. Then today I'm doing a little podcast with old friend Sterling Holmes, and my power goes out mid-show. And so for the last hour, I've been scrambling around going, oh, God, Seth's not here. He'll join mid-show, we hope.
Yep.
I'm thinking, oh, God, how am I going to do a podcast right now? I have no power. Well, 10 minutes to showtime, and the power comes back on. Fantastic. I'm hopping on with Tucker. We're doing some show setup. You're getting to a nursery to do this show from outside by some trees. Yep. And my boom mic breaks. My mic arm snaps off my table. And so I am here. Thank you, Joshua Zylstra, also bringing in the fact that I also have a broken pancreas.
Yeah.
I'm getting no help from my pancreas. I'm getting bombarded by pollen. I'm holding the mic in handheld, and you're flaunting it out in the beautiful weather in front of some beautiful blooming trees. I would love to open my window. Instead, I'm going to have to install some sort of pollen vacuum by it. I have a air purifier right here next to a box of tissues.
Ladies and gentlemen,
my broken mic stand.
Sometimes we have to tell prospects, ladies and gentlemen, that look, there's a reason why you dropped a grade in the draft, right? There's a reason you went from a second round pick to a third round draft grade. Okay. Yes. Maybe I will pop some Snickers. I mean, who knows? I mean, it's incredible outside. The kind staff here has been lovely. I've been meaning to come here for a while. You sound like Han Solo while they're approaching the door.
Yeah.
So it's functional. Will it get to light speed? I guess I'll keep Chewie, just keep banging on things. It's gonna happen at some point, That's what you sound like. You sound like Han Solo, dead on in The Empire Strikes Back being like, I mean, he told me he fixed it.
Listen,
my
man,
pancreas, my stand, my allergies.
That is maybe the highest compliment you've ever given me, and I'm just hoping our precious little princess shows up for the back half of today's show. Chewy, get my tissues, says Hugh Jazz in the chat. Welcome to Only Weird Games. I feel better having at least shared that burden with you all. Even better now being here alongside Nate Taylor, Tucker back there hitting all the buttons. You know who's not miserable right now, Nate? As far as I can tell, Tucker D. Franklin. Because the D stands for this guy's engaged now. Congratulations, Tucker!
Woo woo!
Give Tucker some beer emojis in the chat, please. Beer emojis and diamond ring emojis in the chat for Tucker's engagement. Let's go. Make it happen.
Let's go. Now, look, I know that I've seen Roy McIlroy and the memes in my face over the last 2 days. By the way, incredible Masters tournament. You know what, Josh? It's amazing how much golf becomes more interesting when it's just two guys, competing against one another.
Yeah, that did help.
One of the more interesting things is like, oh, you know what this reminds me of? Tennis. We're outside and my shot affects your shot. We're just not playing the stupid course. I love a good playoff. Can we do this more often? But yes, as we've seen all the memes, as we've seen all the beers, all the ring, the champagne, the praise hands, guys. Roy McIlroy embodied what Tucker must have felt on Saturday, guys. Embodied from the 18th playoff hole to the cabin.
We all thought it may never happen.
We all, we've been waiting a long time. We've all expected this moment. No one deserves this more. No one needs to get Justin Rose out of my face more than Tucker D. Franklin going up, taking his cap off, graciously waving, graciously saying, thank you, Jesus. Knowing that, she's not a green jacket, but knowing that Tara's in the cabin waiting for his arrival.
Do you like your tone on that one, or do you want to take that one again?
No, it's great. It's great. No, that was the point. The point was to make that joke.
Nate. Nate. I've only been married.
I've said some other jokes that I cannot repeat on this podcast. Cannot repeat.
True.
Which Tucker already knows. Those are the best ones I got, because I've had 2 days to kind of load these up in the chamber. But yeah, I mean, green jacket, engagement, it's kind of similar. Yeah. Only when you've been waiting a decade.
I mean, yeah,
like Roy McIlroy.
It's I guess I don't know who's been waiting longer, Tara or Rory. I don't know.
That's my point.
Got it.
That's my point. Yeah, it was. If you haven't seen it, ladies and gentlemen, there is an incredible tweet from Mr. Franklin on him celebrating literally in the end zone, the equivalent of his tweet. You should go.
Sweet nectar.
I can't.
Gargling the sweet nectar of the end zone.
Which you should obviously retweet.
We've all retweeted it 10 times in 15 different ways. It was a very exciting moment for local sports Twitter. People just sort of celebrating Tucker and Tara.
Between everyone understanding who Haley's, how do you say her last name? Stanfield?
Steinfeld? Boy, I don't know. I feel old now because I would have been more confident if I would have just through.
It's amazing. Everybody knows who Gwen from. I basically call her Gwen from Spider-Man, because that's where my life is right now, based on my child. I'm like, oh, that's.
And listen, and Nate, just for the record, Hayden, your son, incredible little boy.
Yeah, of course.
He's no green jacket, but he's a cool kid.
That's right. But he's a very cool kid. Yeah, no green jacket, but we can only hope to aspire to such great heights. Yeah, Steinfeld. Okay, Haley Steinfeld. It's amazing. Everybody knows who Haley Steinfeld is and is like, that's Josh Allen's fiance. And also, hey, bro, you still getting. I know it's April. No one should care. Your name's on Twitter, and it's not for the reasons you want it to be known for. He has more rings than you, or a more ring than you. Sorry. I haven't had this conversation with Tucker yet. Tucker, we've got time. Just put a pin in this. The next time we do 21 questions, my question to you is how much thought you have put in your wedding ring. Clearly, Tara taken care of with the engagement ring, an absolutely beautiful piece here. But I want to talk to you about it. It really, Tucker, obviously at this point in our relationship, for content.
obviously. We need to talk about that and figure out what the plan was. Seamus says, Tucker, did you have any pancreas issues delaying your proposal as well, or no? I don't think so.
No, I think Tucker was an all juice candidate upon entering the draft. That's where he was.
Well, speaking of trying to get way better value than we ever should have, congratulations, Tucker and Tara.
Congratulations, Tucker.
Let's
Miss Garcia.
I don't know. I don't know what Tara's family thinks about Tucker. I'm not here to assume. And at this point, here's the thing. Here's the thing now. We can't make any jokes about it because now the can is open. And Tucker can't react.
Right.
Either way. Because I can't be like, Tucker, tell us if they're cool. And then he's like, never keep going. Because that's a loss. That's over. We can't do that. So Tucker, don't say anything.
He hasn't texted anything in the private chat in the last 11 minutes. I wonder why.
Because he's you know what? He's taken notes about the right things.
That's right.
We'll see if you've taken the right notes about the right things, Nate. Or hopefully Seth will join us here and we'll get to his next Know Your Draft Crush installment with Derek Harmon. But you had a bunch of stuff over in The Athletic, I think Friday, Saturday, sometime after the Thursday show. And we talked about some of the nuggets from the Beast. We talked about our cornerback choices from south of the Mason-Dixon line and a few of these pieces here. But there are a couple of things where you have taken a pretty definitive stance on a topic that Matt Verderam also talked about with Tucker Franklin on the football show this week.
Yes.
That I want to talk about the left tackle situation and then spend some time in tight end and running back rooms here because I think there's really interesting stuff in both of those conversations that you mentioned in this story that I think has maybe gone a smidge under discussed just in this draft cycle in general.
Yes.
Let's start in the trenches, though. With what you have there. Also, because the news of since last Thursday is that Josh Simmons, the Ohio State tackle, it did have a 30 visit with the Chiefs. I'm trying not to say top 30 because that's not how that works.
Right.
You get 30 of these visits, and obviously the Chiefs aren't bringing in Cam Ward, and really it's just about here are your 30 guys that you want in the building for one reason or another. Usually that's going to be medical, right, Nate? Anything about that process that you want to make sure people know before we kind of get into the Simmons of it all?
It just gives you one last opportunity, and I think it's interesting too that you always try to do these in like April. You don't necessarily want to do them in March. You want to get to them as much as possible in April because you want to get as close as you can to the actual date of the draft. So, for instance, hey, if Trey Smith is known for this blood clot situation, why don't we bring him in and let him be with our doctors, our training facility, our training staff, understand like where his body is medically so that we have no issues with him if we are able to take him in the draft. And guess what, kids? The Chiefs' due diligence was rewarded because they took him in the 6th round when a lot of teams did not have him on their board. I'm not saying that's the same situation with Josh Simmons, but obviously because of the pellet tendon, I believe, injury is that he had the pellet tendon tear in October. You just want to get as much medical information as you can. Now, sometimes they also bring in players for, hey, we just want to double check who you are as a human being,
right?
Who you are as an employee. You know, guys, there was some receiver a couple years back who did make a visit to the Chiefs. You can look this up. I'm not going to say his name, but you could probably glean from who I'm thinking of who, visited the Chiefs, extremely talented, also coming off an injury, played south of the Mason-Dixon line, and they said, we've done our due diligence, we've tried, take him off the board, scratch him off immediately. And then they took another receiver in that draft. I'm sure you can put 2 and 2 together, okay? I'm sure you can put 2 and 2 together. And it's interesting now that team is like, well, we took a shot. Does anybody want this man? Anybody? Because of, personality issues. So it's just another chance to interview. Everybody knows about the, I guess, famous, now infamous pre-draft visit. Because I think the Chiefs both had Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson before the 2017 draft for, who are you as a person? Now, I don't know if you could have gleaned
right
where one person was heading and where one person wasn't. But you do your due diligence. You try your best. Everybody that I respect in the draft circle tends to believe if Josh Simmons is there at 31, the Chiefs will take him. Mostly on the belief that if and when he gets fully healthy, maybe not this season, but maybe in year 2, year 3, oh man, his talent obviously would have put him in like and I've heard this, his talent would have put him in the top 8 to 16 range.
Right.
So he would have been nowhere near the capabilities of you acquiring him had it not been for this injury that ended his season in October when he was one of the best left tackle prospects in this coming draft class. I understand that. Guys, if I know that, every other team know that.
Right.
Guys, there's other teams, not named the Kansas City Chiefs, who need an offensive tackle. And particularly one on the left side. Okay. Yeah. You do your due diligence. It would still take quite a bit of quite a bit of chaos and randomness for Josh Simmons, in my opinion, to be there at 31. But I understand why everybody does it. Even my guy Dan Brugler from The Athletic, who does the Beast, really believes that, like, hey, if the Chiefs are fine from a medical standpoint with where Josh is with his rehab on his knee, kind of needs your knee to play left tackle, then they'll take a gamble. Because you could argue in a couple weeks' time, and I'm asking both you and the audience, Josh, some information we have, some information we don't. Is taking Josh Simmons at 31 comparable or a better gamble than taking Felix Anudike-Uzomah when Clark Hunt was holding the trophy saying, make a god bleeping pick?
Yeah. It would be a better gamble because
okay.
The ceiling is higher, and you have seen more of him as a football player do the thing, right? Like,
sure. Yes.
That is the part in this for me. And look, my like 30,000 foot, like my big take on the left tackle thing is that we are pretty safe from needing to have this conversation. I think, for me at least, Josh Simmons is the single outlier because if you are above him on teams' big boards, the Chiefs are not sniffing those maybe very few players,
right?
Maybe one or two tackles. If you are seeing him at 31 and your other options are useful players, maybe this is costing you a George Karlaftis equivalent, right? Of like a super useful player who's on the field all the time. But if you believe that he actually has franchise left tackle potential in a more realistic way than when we've said that about a Kingsley Suamataia, which even then, I don't think people were saying it that way out loud, that they are saying it about Simmons. If he's there at 31, I'm interested. I think your point is maybe the next big takeaway, which is that the Chiefs are not the only team who's going to go, well, Josh Simmons is a higher caliber tackle prospect than we're usually going to be able to pick, but he might not be ready this year, or he may have a long road to being a contributor, or being a starter.
Right.
That to me, I still think that he makes sense in like the late 20s, which is why the Chiefs should have him in for the visit, right? You got to be ready. You can't be there at 31 and go, oh, Josh Simmons is there. Did anybody check out his knee? You can't be them.
You know, there are some teams that are honestly like that. Did anybody check? Hey, make another call. Call his agent. Is he healthy?
You got 8 minutes. You should know.
What do you think the agent's going to tell you? Nah, he feels great. He feels incredible. No, you should go through the process as much as you can. I know Bobby asked, is it possible they could trade up for Josh Simmons? Man, you better be right, guys. And you better, and I think I should remember.
That's a good point though, Nate, because it increases the risk. If you invest more and more and more in that, if you like Simmons a lot, it's your first round pick and next year's third or whatever it is. Right. And like you're now getting even less out of that pick this year too.
Yes. And again, two things I should say here. Let's say, okay, in the first scenario, let's say you take Josh Simmons. Okay. All right. Well, does that mean, does he have positional flexibility to where he can maybe be right tackle, or are you moving Jalen Moore to right tackle in the event that like he's competent, but he's not like, above average to elite at the left tackle position? You actually have to have that conversation too, which I think some people are just immediately like putting Josh Simmons there because yes, from a roster need / talent comparison, those two things match up. But from a roster standpoint, ooh, buddy, you better be right, because you've already given somebody guaranteed money that puts them on, the track to be on the salary cap, not just this year but next year. What are you going to do with Wanya Morris? What are you going to do with Jawan Taylor if he even has a career year, right? So there's a lot of scenarios and possibilities that you have to consider if you do take Josh Simmons. The second one is this. Exactly to Mike's question, some reasons why you trade up is because you are as confident as you could possibly be that team, and that team are circling. And if you are bold enough to go get them, then go ahead and go get them. Some background. The Chiefs knew on day 2 of the draft a couple years ago that they wanted Rashee Rice. And they waited and they waited and they waited, and they probably could have waited more. Remember, ladies, they could have waited a lot more for Rashee Rice, I could argue, based on all the information I know. But you know what? They went up and got him. And you know what? They won the Super Bowl. And you know what? No one thought this man was going to drive on Easter weekend 100 miles an hour and almost kill people. Hey, y'all, please don't do that. Okay, please don't do that. I need to get through one more weekend. One more weekend. It's Easter, guys. Have a nice weekend. My wife's about to deliver a child.
Hey, last year she's about to be pregnant.
That's right. I don't need these problems. Okay. So, and the second thing is, you would trade up because do we want the Buffalo Bills to have them? No, I don't think that will be this. I don't think that'll matter this year, but let's just say it's worked, with Trent McDuffie and with, Xavier Worthy. Their question was, hey, do we think the Buffalo Bills want him? Yes. Make the call.
Go get him. Go get him. I would say
so
usually that's bad team building. In this case, it's hard to argue with the results. Just go get the guy the Bills wanted.
Right. So, again,
maybe the Chiefs just need to steal the Bills scouting department.
There's a reason. I think Chiefs fans should really give a lot of credit to Bill Belichick. They should thank this man anytime they see him win whatever in North Carolina, because Bill Belichick was like, "Oh, so you're coming up to jump the Bills? Cool,
sure thing,
sure thing." And they got Trent McDuffie because of it, which is one of those many factors that you have to think about. So it's not just going up to get the need; it's also going up because you think other teams might be in the same situation as you, and whether or not you have the gumption, as Josh says, to increase the risk in order to secure the player. That's where this does get really fascinating with Josh Simmons, because if you look at the tape, ladies and gentlemen, he good. It's just a matter of how quickly can he get to full health, and will his skills not just be back to peak form, but how quickly can they translate to obviously being an above average left tackle in the NFL, which is not the same as college.
As we get ready to take a break, I will do as the Discord has requested. It's happened again. I am back on the clock in the 2025 KCSN mock draft for my final pick as the general manager of the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, no.
And with the 225th overall pick in the 2025 KCSN member mock draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Upton Craig Stout, cornerback, Western Kentucky.
Hell yeah.
Folks, I've had a perfect draft, so I'm going to go ahead and kick my feet back. We're going to take a little break. And when we come back, Nate Taylor and Seth Keysor are going to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Are you ready to win some real cash during the basketball playoffs? Well, check out Pick 6 from DraftKings. When it comes to basketball payouts, DraftKings Pick 6 posterizes the competition. And yeah, that includes prize picks. Hit all your picks and score higher minimum payouts on Pick 6. Plus, even more cash if you outscore the competition. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. New players get 50 in Pick 6 credits instantly on just a $5 entry. Here's what you got to do. Download DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
The reads get better every time. Please, I encourage everyone to check out what Tucker is doing on the video side for that. And I encourage you to check out a very cool thing for a very good cause that KCSN is doing right now that can benefit you as well. I'll say first on the front end of this, the setup this year is a little bit different, and the benefit this year is a little bit different than some of the things KCSN has done in the past in memory of Therese Paylor. BJ Kissel described all this, explained kind of the evolution here, and the very short version is that this can evolve because there has been so much incredible support for these various places where people have been supporting journalism in Therese Paylor's name. So it's been incredible to see that, and incredible to see what KCSN is going to do with this year's benefit raffle, now supporting the All Juice Draft Workshop in memory of Therese Paylor. Here's what you can get, and then I'll tell you how you can enter. You enter to win this into this raffle, and you can win a Nick Bolton signed poster, a Creed Humphrey signed mini helmet, a Trent McDuffie signed jersey, a Will Shields signed jersey, Brian Cook signed jersey, Shamari Connor signed jersey, and a Chris Jones signed jersey. So what you can do is you can get one ticket for $10 or 10 tickets for $50. I'm no mathematician, but that seems like a good deal to me. And you go to givebutter.com/KCSN draft. It's butter, like the thing you put on toast. Givebutter.com/KCSN draft, or you can Venmo at KC Sports Network. Winners will be announced on April 27th during the draft recap show. Appreciate everybody who is once again supporting all that. Hope you can win some good things and support an excellent cause. Mr. Keysor, funny seeing you here. How you doing?
I'm doing very, very, very well. I'm thrilled to see you guys. Sorry for my lateness. It couldn't be avoided. Sometimes people got to pay their child support, and if they don't,
and I'm glad, and I'm glad you went to work so you could afford to do that.
Yes, yes. You know what? Yeah.
Oh, is that not what you meant?
I was just letting some people know, like, bro, you gotta pay. Yeah. It's like, yeah, but I ain't got any money. I don't care. You gotta pay. You went halvesies on a kid. Yep. Yeah, Seth the bounty hunter. Apparently, halvesies on a kid is not a really common expression, because I said that the other day, and people
back
were like,
in the Old Testament again, King Solomon. What are you talking about?
Well, you went halvesies on a kid. It's like, you got to pay for a kid. It's like, I can't pay $400 a month. It's like, you have any idea how much kids cost when they live with you, dude?
Is it more than that?
Just pay the money.
It's incredibly more than that.
It's so much more than that. It's like, oh, I remember that time that I wiped my butt with $400 because we spent so much more money on our children. I'm not sure how the two would be unrelated. Man, I missed you guys. How you doing?
We missed you too, buddy. I'm great.
Here's what we're gonna do with the limited runway that we all have here. Seth feels like Seth's mouth open to say something, and that's scary because you also didn't say it.
Do you have like a vaporizer going?
Yeah, this is all in the intro.
Okay.
Seth, I'm at a point now where I actually can't do the show sober, and
reactors are firing.
I'm just shocked that you were ever doing the show sober. This is
the first few months. Yeah, the first few months were hard. No, I have a humidifier in here, which sucks. I don't want rooms to be more humid. Generally, I want them to be dehumidified whenever possible. But I'm allergic to everything in the air, including you now. So my allergies are really acting up.
That works.
We just talked a little bit about the tackle situation heading into the draft class and whatnot. And so, Seth, I think you're going to end up being here at a time where Nate has dipped out. So I'm going to save Derek Harmon to kind of the full dismount there of your film review on him. But I'm curious where both of you are at on the next couple of topics, the tight end and running back classes. I know we haven't done, Seth, I know you haven't done 30 tight end and running back film reviews and all of that, but it has become kind of an interesting pocket of this draft because it seems like there are really probably at both running back and tight end, two guys you assume are first rounders, and then a bunch of traits and stylistic players, and supposedly a pretty deep class at running back. Although Janty is going to go super early, and then Hampton's going to be right in that range to maybe have the Chiefs take a first round running back. We'll see if he ends up falling that far. But Nate, between those two, which one do you want to talk about first? As you wrote a little bit about both tight end and the Travis Kelce succession plan and the backfield.
Okay, I want to talk about tight ends first, guys, because look, tight ends are pretty sexy, and I found the sexiest girl at the bar. Okay, his name is Elijah Arroyo.
Yeah, Miami, baby. That's perfect.
He is a tight end from Miami, and I'm sorry that now that I've said his name out loud, he will definitely not be a member of the Kansas City Chiefs, because that's what this show does. We set you up for people who are going to be good in the league, for them to absolutely break your heart, and hope that player doesn't score a pick six in the Super Bowl. Now, look, Elijah Arroyo has traits similar to Travis Kelce. He is a willing blocker. It's fascinating that I think Dane Brugler has Elijah as a second round grade, and our guys at KCSN and their draft guide have him as, I would assume probably like top of the third round grade. I don't think Elijah Arroyo's dropping to the bottom of the third round. So again, maybe that's a Titans pick if he slides. But I think he's great. I think he has the skill set, the wiggle, the yards after the catch potential that, like, man. And I know this might not be like the most necessary thing for the draft for the Chiefs right now, but we are only guaranteed Travis Kelce for one more year, which informs me that Travis Kelce, as the top assistant coach next to Matt Nagy, is only around for one more year. So if you're going to take a tight end and you've already seen the success that Noah Gray has had, which, of course, as we told you, upon him arriving to the Chiefs, that he was a majestic white horse on a sandy beach. I mean, I can't imagine what Elijah Arroyo would be if he had both Noah Gray and Travis Kelce to learn from, along with obviously longtime tight end coach Tom Melvin, who's been very good, working under Andy Reid for all these years now. So it's a bit of a splashy pick. I have another running back to name, Seth, but I just want to break people's hearts that Elijah Arroyo will be good in the NFL, and he will probably not be in red and gold.
He's tight end 4, both in Dane's Beast and in the KCSN draft guide, by the way, behind Loveland, Warren, Taylor. Seth, how do you feel about the tight end range even? Because obviously Jared Wiley's still on this team, just the ACL took his rookie year from him. How do you feel about putting some, let's say, real investment in the tight end group?
I liked Wiley's college film. Tight end seems to be a position that people basically have no idea how to project to the NFL overall. Brock Bowers.
Yeah. There's only one of them, but his name is plural.
Sure.
Yes.
He was kind of an exception, but we've seen plenty of times where people, this guy's going to be great. This guy's going to be great. They're not. There's something about the way a tight end moves that lets you know whether or not it's going to be a successful transition. But I can't describe it. I just know it when I see it, right? Like when I see it, I'm like, yep, that dude's going to be good. But can I describe it? Absolutely not. And I don't see any problem with the Chiefs going with it. And I actually have a bit of a running theory on this to go a little counterculture. If if they're trying to invest in tight end, people are always saying, well, we got to replace Travis Kelce. We got to replace the Travis Kelce role. But you won't, is the thing. Unless you somehow draft the reincarnation of Travis Kelce, or if you want to get like 90% of the way there, 95% of the way, Tony Gonzalez, maybe. You can do a lot of the same things. Great
Did
player.
he play basketball?
Or Gronk. It's not happening. It's not. Like, Bowers is the closest thing. We're like, oh, okay. Because even really good tight ends in the league right now, you watch how they play, and then you watch how Kelce plays and has played for the last decade. And those are not the same thing. It's not like Zach Ertz, great pro career. Terrific pro. Can't play the Travis Kelce role. Even an all-time great like Gronk. Can't play the Travis Kelce role. Tony, I think, could have. Would he have been as good as Kelce? I don't think so. Very close, and that's just a testament to how incredibly great Tony G is. So
correct.
The
Tony Gonzalez is, by the way, Tony Gonzalez has told us, hey man, Dick Vermeil was great. Can you imagine if I played with Andy Reid? And I'm like, don't start, Tony. Don't start.
Yeah,
don't start.
No, I can't. Him and Jamal, But anyway, my take on this is what they need at the tight end position once Travis Kelce finally decides to hang him up, and even starting to transition to that this year, is to modify the tight end position's usage in Kansas City's offense. Have it go back more to what Andy Reid used to, where, plenty of targets for the tight end, but it's more traditional tight endy stuff. You're not asking him to be a tight end and an X receiver and the primary offensive weapon and all those things.
I have a genuine question. It feels like they don't even let Noah Gray do that. Like, I feel
Correct.
like the role is
don't.
The role is so Travis Kelce that Noah Gray doesn't even get like normal tight end targets, which is kind of odd.
Exactly. D-Mac Wakefield makes a great point in the comments. Trey McBride just got made the highest paid tight end, rightfully so, and he can't do the Travis Kelce role. So I'm actually like, to me, you have Noah Gray, who, if your role is a certain thing in the offense, is a perfectly acceptable starting tight end. Perfectly fine. Good even. Yeah. If you're asking him to do normal tight end stuff, and then, you keep drafting tight ends, see if you can do double tight end stuff. I get all that. I'm just not sure that it's worth the time and the energy to try to draft relatively high or even very high a position that is notorious for being tough to project at the next level, to replace a guy who's irreplaceable. Nate Dogg asks, is there any tight end that can function as an X receiver? No. Travis Kelce. And I'm adding that to Nate Dogg's comment. Because there's been one. I mean, maybe Shannon Sharp could have done it back in the day. I mean, like, no one can do these things. Maybe Bowers. Bowers is a freak. That dude's awesome. But there's not a lot of Brock Bowers that come out. Right. And so unless you have that fall into your lap again, I don't think you try to catch lightning in a bottle twice. I think what you do instead is you say, hey, you know what we've gotten a lot better at lately? Drafting wide receivers. You know what our offense can have 4 of on the field at one time? Wide receivers. I would personally lean that direction if I were them, as opposed to trying to replace what is irreplaceable. It's the equivalent of, like, I genuinely can't think of the idea. It's like when Will Shields retired, like, well, let's replace Will Shields with with a right guard. Well, no.
Right.
That's not going to work. Wait, was he a left guard or a right guard? Why is this happening to him?
How about this, Seth? Let's replace Joe Thuney with that tackle we didn't want anymore last year.
But even that doesn't fall into place because Joe Thuney
is a guard.
To be like, he's a guard.
He's an incredible guard.
He's a Hall of Fame guard. Yeah.
Guard.
I knew you were going to say that, Josh.
It just doesn't work the same way. And you can't compensate the offense around it because it's been the job of Travis Kelce for years to compensate for the offense around him. Adam Sheehan, this is a great comment, man. The comment section's terrific today. Lottery winners told me I should invest in the lottery. That's really it.
Can I set up a straw man to immediately burn him?
That's my favorite thing that people do when I argue with them.
I know some people are going to say, well, hey, didn't they draft Travis Kelce in Check's notes the 3rd round?
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, guys, he wouldn't be a 3rd round graded tight end. In this context of the draft because he could smoke weed legally.
Yeah. No one would care. Tested positive for THC. Yeah, dude ate gummies to help himself sleep. In today's world, it's very different. And
he get drafted into my office right now, apparently.
And and Travis Kelce has talked a little bit about the draft stuff. Him and Jason have, and seems like he was kind of the first to admit, like, you know, he was tough to coach. There were certain things. For sure. I think he ended up in a perfect place. But you can't count on. It's not a sustainable business model to hope that you get that lucky again. What is sustainable is to say, hey, let's do tight end the way most other teams do it, even teams with good tight ends, because Noah Gray is a good tight end. We'll be a little more traditional with it, and let's get as many wide receivers as we can get. That's what I would do. This is a good tight end class, so I'm not saying you don't grab one in the third round, fourth round, something like that, but you're not doing it to try to take over the Travis Kelce role, because once Travis Kelce retires, there will not be a Travis Kelce role unless they are foolish. You know, you don't run the same stuff with another tight end like you do with Travis Kelce. So don't try. Don't try to every analogy I can think of is one I can't use. Don't try to replace the irreplaceable. You can't do it. If Jazz were to be,
I was so close. Man,
no, I'm kidding. No, I'm not
I was about to compliment your restraint for the first time in our relationship.
Well, you're not gonna today. I'm glad you were excited, and I can take that away from you. It's really what it is if you change this podcast, let's say I'm walking down the street tomorrow and a piano falls on my head in a tragic but rather comedic death. Which, by the way, if that happens to me, you have permission to laugh at my funeral, because that would be funny.
Didn't need it, but appreciate that permission anyway.
Well, at least this way my family would see me saying it and get less mad at you.
Yeah, that's a good point. I appreciate that.
You know, now I'm not nearly as irreplaceable as Travis Kelce, but no one in the world with the slight possibility of Nathaniel Taylor makes Josh madder than I do. And so you can't just bring someone in and be like, hey, your job is to make Josh mad. And then they would try, and Josh would be like, it's not the same.
Right. Introducing the new host of Only Weird Games, Renee DeVault Brisco.
I didn't want to do that. It was such low-hanging fruit. But, like, that's where you can't replace the irreplaceable and in an irreplaceable role. And Travis Kelce's both. I'm just in the irreplaceable role, because anyone else who came in, they'd be trying to make Josh
Welcome
mad.
to the show, Mike Florio.
I just do it.
We got both Cats brothers. Let's go.
We got both Cats
I've
brothers.
never felt more replaceable in my life.
Oh boy.
But anyway, so
hey,
that's
you'd still be twice as smart as both of them combined. Nate, do you still need them for a story? Can I?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I don't know. Look. Time is running out. We'll see. Can we talk? Can we talk about the?
Nate, that's never bothered them before. In fairness,
that is true. Okay, I got two running backs. One legitimate before I have to go, and one legitimate and one unrealistic. Okay,
hit me.
Okay. I don't know how to say either one of these. I know how to say one guy's name. I don't know how to say the other dude's name.
I think.
No.
Okay.
It's the young man from Ohio State who I think is better from the young man from North Carolina, and I'm on record now, kids. And I think he's better than the young man from Iowa, who looks as solid and as safe of a running back pick as you can make. I like Caleb Johnson. He's just safe. No, doesn't do it for me. Doesn't give me Jazzagal feelings. Okay. Now look, the lady who gets my who really puts the wind underneath my skirt is Quinshaw the Jenkins.
That can't possibly be the expression.
Yeah, of course it is.
Judkins? Is it pronounced
Judkins? What's his name?
I'll see how.
Hey, I'm basically like the owner who walks in on April 15th. Hey, who's that Ohio State guy? The running back? I like him.
There are two of them. You can't say the Ohio State running back. There are two of them.
Which number was which? Because I just got done watching some Derek Harmon tape, and they played Ohio State twice. And so I have opinions about their running backs because I happened to see them because, God, they
Judkins
ran all
is 6 foot 220 and Henderson's 5'10", 200.
Okay. Number one, my friend. Hey, quick sidebar before I have to go. Hey, who called John Mora? Who said, hey, bro,
seriously,
we can't. You ain't got nothing to do. Can you just get on a flight to Boulder, Colorado, please? Please.
We go talk to him.
Can we just go talk to him? We ain't never drafted a black quarterback. Can we just make the appearance that we
gotta
might
show up?
We gotta show up. Can you just come on, John?
Oh, you can probably meet Dion. I don't know.
Hey, guess what? We did sign Russell Westbrook. Look, man, you're changing. Now let's go to full.
Definitely not Russell Westbrook
or Russell Wilson. Russell Westbrook might be an incredible NFL quarterback because the interceptions to touchdown ratio would be amazing.
Yeah,
so look, the wind under my skirt, is Mr. Junkins. Now, here's I don't think he's going to the Chiefs, guys. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. I've mentioned his name now. It's too late. Now, here's what I think we'll go to the Chiefs, and then I'll dip. I know everybody likes the kid from Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
I know we all like Devin Neal. So good. So, I love his determination and like his get down. I just love his get down on tape. But guys, it's about wiggle. It's about speed. It's about making people miss in the open field, and it's about catching the football. That's right, Nate Dogg. Give me Gittins or else, or we riot, okay? Man, I really am.
I thought I was preparing for you to talk me into Trevor Etienne because he got the little card on the web.
Now
you're going.
Yes.
You're saying. Excuse me, Kansas fans. Not only do I not want your man.
Nope.
I'm going to Manhattan.
That's right. Give me DJ. Get me
for
DJ
K-State,
or
Seth,
we
just for
riot.
The context that will be important to the
Get me DJ or we bleeping riot, okay? Because kids, that is right up the alley of it's the third round. It's a little high.
Oh, Nate's mic came unplugged just as he was about to deliver the killing blow of his argument, which I actually think is perfect for reaching on a running back. Nate's final words to convince me did not make it to my ears. Thanks, Nate.
It's okay.
You're back.
I just said, look, man. I do love how concentration says have fun writing. I know that's the whole point, guys. I'm trying to get you hyped for the draft so that we can utterly be disappointed when Christian Watson doesn't go to the Chiefs. It goes to the Packers. It breaks my heart.
Cooper DeJean's going to be a Super Bowl hero. You son of
that's right.
Year against you. That's the game. That's the game we play.
We talked about Brock Myers for a year, knowing damn well he wasn't going to the Chiefs, okay? Because he was that good. All right? Look, there's nothing better than building somebody up and then them not choosing to go on a date with you. That's the same thing I'm doing right now, guys. I'm really high on Arroyo. I'm really high on Gittins, and I expect to be heartbroken in 2 weeks' time. So there you go. Which you should be as too, because the team you root for has Patrick Mahomes, so like none of this really matters. But come on, let's make it matter.
Nate, enjoy leading the youth as Seth and I go ahead. We're gonna rank our top 25 guard prospects.
That's right, baby.
On day 2 and 3. So thanks, Nate. Talk to you Thursday.
See you, buddy.
Do you have any running back heat check stuff before we talk a little bit about Derek Harmon?
I do have a guy that there's a lot of good running.
You got a guy. That's even more specific.
Well, I'm not. We're not really committed, right?
You're not in love, but you got a guy.
Like people got to eat. You got to go out, get a free meal every now and then.
Exactly.
But just I can't tell if I'm overcompensating because I've been hurt before in other running back relationships. And you know how that goes, right? It's like, I don't know what I'm looking for, but for now, I'll settle for the exact opposite of what I had last time. And let's see what happens. That's how Jazz met me, honestly. But, it is what it is.
It works out for the player if it doesn't work out for the team necessarily. I mean, somebody wins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it worked out great for the player and not for the team. Jaden Blue and fly. And on a team that I'm just like, it just looks slow. Man, Kareem Hunt can bang out a few, 5-yard gains and 4-yard gains when you need 4 yards and all that. I kind of want to see a guy that is just cooking out there. And I think he might be available a little later because he's probably going to be seen as kind of more of a scat back type guy. So that's, but I'm lukewarm on it. It's like, again, I don't really know how I feel. I'm a little confused.
Another date. Another date's not going to hurt anybody.
We're not going to meet my parents. We're not going to we haven't even met my friends yet.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just hanging out.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to be in the area? Yeah. We can get together and sit together while we sip on some coffee.
You can meet one of my best friends who I know is going to tell me what they really think. Like you're right there. But I think that's earned. He's running back 21 in Dane Brugler's draft guide, 4th round grade over there in the KCSN draft guide. Do you know the KCSN player comp for him? A player who was not only a Chief. If you don't know, Seth, don't look yet. I want you to try to guess on the hints that I'll give you.
Okay.
His comparison is a former Chiefs running back who was a Chiefs running back many times.
CJ Spiller.
CJ Spiller.
That, and you know what? CJ Spiller was one of those players, and maybe he is as well, where you're always like, man, I see him and he should be really good.
I think CJ's okay. This is going to be this is a perfect test for if my eyes were lying to me, because I was very impressionable at the age when I thought CJ Spiller was definitely good. My hunch is that CJ Spiller was good, but never lived up to the draft stock and the draft slot. And if you're getting CJ Spiller in the 4th round, I'd take that today. And everyone knows how I feel about running backs. I mean, we got to see CJ Spiller have a good NFL career. Which isn't guaranteed in a 4th round pick, but I don't know. That's a fun one. I like that.
Yeah. That's again. And plus for me in a draft class like this, you might be a guy that's like got a 4th round grade, but you might be able to grab him like the 6th round, because a lot of teams are going to be snapping up a lot of running backs. So then guys that normally might be in the 4th round or so, they're a little more available. And so that's the hope for me. But again, I haven't really fallen in love with any of these guys. Because I got such a late start this year, I've only covered 2 different guys. I got to look at Simmons' film. I got to look at Burden's film, because I know everyone wants to see those 2 guys. And I want to look at a few more defensive linemen, but I would love to look at a running back or 2, because running back is one of those positions where you watch them. It's kind of similar with tight end, only I think easier, honestly. I will go to my grave. I actually because someone shared it, I just rewatched the highlights for Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's first game as a Chief.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, he lost 10% of explosion that he couldn't afford to lose.
Yep.
And I will go to my grave saying injuries.
If this running back wasn't hurt, he would have had a much better, longer career.
Which is very common tale with running backs, which is one of the risks.
Which, by the way, is my mea culpa. I overinflated CJ Spiller in my memory. He had back-to-back years with over 1,000 yards from scrimmage in 2011 and 2012. Or excuse me, in 2012 and 2013 with Buffalo, but did not have the impact that he had on my heart, on my fantasy football team, perhaps in 2012, if I had to guess. I don't know. But
we all have players like that where it's just the right age. You start to watch them and you're like, man, I'm convinced that this dude is just a baller. And then later on, you go back and look and you're like, oh, they were fine adjacent, give or take. And that's just how it goes. That's one of the beautiful things of fanhood, is that it's never, ever, ever rational. And that's one of my favorite things about it.
9 overall for Spiller. And Tucker says that Dwayne Bowe is his player for that. I have a Dwayne Bowe jersey that I still have. I can't wear it. It doesn't fit. But Dwayne Bowe will always, for me, be like a crystallizing player, because that draft class was like, for whatever reason, that was like the year I was kind of locking into the NFL. And then they drafted a receiver from LSU who was fun and wore 82, who pointed at his nameplate. Love Dwayne Bowe forever.
And Dwayne Bowe, for what it's worth, was like, for like 2 years, was really, 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 really good.
Yep.
And then it's kind of like what I said about Clyde, like losing that 10% he couldn't afford to lose. When Bowe lost that 10%, he went from slow for a receiver to unplayably slow.
And see, I simply don't ever remember Dwayne Bowe being slow, because I've chosen not to.
Nice.
It's a free hack you can just have. I remember the highs. The fact that he never made I guess he ended up in one Pro Bowl. Fair enough. In 2010.
2010. Well, because he had like 19 touchdowns that year or whatever.
15. He had 15
Matt Castle threw like 27 touchdowns and all of them were to Dwayne Bowe, and all of them were in one blowout game against Denver. It was, yeah.
I will always appreciate Dwayne Bowe in a way like far beyond the realms of reason or logic. I will not be held down by those.
Well, you and the Clarks.
That's really it. I guess here's a question for you, Seth.
Yeah.
You gonna have another Draft Crush story out by Thursday?
Who knows what might happen? I think so. Yeah. I'm looking at Luther Burden next.
Ooh.
And the people have demanded it. We know I'm a man of the people. I've been told by people I trust, even though he doesn't have traditional X receiver size necessarily, they think he can do X receiver stuff. So I want to take a look.
Okay, I'm still gonna go ahead and call this audible because if we go into the Draft Crush, we're gonna be here for 15 more minutes, and
True.
I don't think there's gonna be a lot of breaking Chiefs news tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, we're at 55 minutes.
So I'd rather let us take some more time to talk about Derek Harmon because I think for a bunch of reasons, he's like feels like the right next guy to talk about a little bit before branching out into Burden and the rest of that. So let me loop you all the way back around to what Nate and I talked about right before you hopped in. Because the Chiefs did have it's not a top 30. You just get 30 visits. They had a 30 visit with Josh Simmons, the tackle out of Ohio State. And we've talked quite a bit about like he has the hard to find franchise left tackle type of ceiling, and not just in a baseless projection. Like I get you might have been able to argue that Kingsley Suamataia had that ceiling and Doctor Strange number of universes or whatever, but like with Josh Simmons, if he was healthy, he would be getting drafted much, much higher. He'd be considered a much, much higher spot. So I think it makes total sense the Chiefs had him in for the visit. If he is there at 31 and you didn't have him in for medicals, you're going to feel like a fool. Like you got to know what you think about him as a team.
Yes.
You weren't in there for the medicals. You have not done a real deep dive on him, but we talked about left tackle. He, to me, is probably the only answer for a left tackle who I wouldn't be upset for the Chiefs to take at 31 because I see the vision. I hear the logic. He's redshirting in 2025. Like maybe Jalen Moore is your right tackle the year after, or he's the right tackle. You keep your options open. Reaching on another tackle does not make any sense to me at all. If you think Simmons is a franchise left tackle and he's there at 31, I am intrigued, not invested. Where are you on that?
There are a few positions that if they fall to you for one reason or another, you almost have to take, barring extreme circumstances. Like, so quarterback is one. Your extreme circumstances being you have Patrick Mahomes.
Very extreme.
I think left tackle, had you asked me a few years ago if I thought left tackle was one of those, I would have said, no, I don't think so. Right tackles become so important. You can do the interior line. But the thing that I didn't take into account with that is that even though the play on the field has course corrected somewhat for the importance of left tackle, the market hasn't. And so what that means is you're more likely to find a competent right tackle in free agency than a competent left tackle. You're much more likely to find a competent left guard, center, right guard, wide receiver, maybe even tight end, basically almost every position. And I'm starting to think more and more of the draft in terms of positional scarcity. The last time the Chiefs had no, they don't hit free agency. They just don't. Orlando Brown Jr. did, but again, some highly unusual circumstances there. And not a potential franchise guy. But again, I think if Chiefs fans could go back in time and say, yeah, sign that exact same deal, or even one that's a little more expensive, honestly, to stay in Kansas City, every Chiefs fan would probably take that.
Every Chiefs fan should take that.
Yes. And so I think for me, if he falls, it depends. Like, how bullish are they on Jalen Moore? Are they like, no, we really think he's our guy. We think we've outsmarted everyone. We think he's the dude. Then fine. Fair enough. But even I just don't think that's the route you go. I think you draft him if the medicals were fine.
Yep.
Now, I haven't reviewed his film yet to really decide how crazy I'm about it. But I think when you think about it in terms of positional scarcity, it's like Trent McDuffie. You got to grab him. In elite corner, those are hard to find. Elite interior defensive linemen, elite edge rushers, those are hard to find. Really hard to find. So I think there are some positions that if they fall to you, especially when because your quarterback is Patrick Mahomes, you know you are picking at what? Barring a cataclysmic injury, 25 or later, every year. This is every year, guys. I mean, it's been 2018 on. Barring something cataclysmic, you are not going to even be in position to trade up for a guy like that, barring crazy circumstances. But it's the medical stuff. So they would have to be, I would want to be so comfortable with the medicals. Like, man, that dude was moving unbelievably in that private workout we had for him. Barely could tell the difference. We talked to 3 different doctors. They were all raving about, whatever, right?
Whatever got him to take Trey Smith. But that was a 6th round pick. So that's a totally different dart throw. I mean,
right.
Much more expensive to do it at 31.
Definitely a different level of risk. So you would have to be incredibly confident. But left tackle is one of those spots where if you get a chance to swing, especially when you already have a franchise quarterback, I think you just have to swing. It's kind of the equivalent of if for one reason or another, I don't remember his name, but the
if Jazz got hit by a meteor. Oh, no, okay, sorry. I wasn't sure what kind of analogy it was going to be.
The edge rusher that was awesome in the college playoffs, even though he only was playing with one good arm. Or maybe it was right before the college playoffs. Either way, whoever that dude is, who is going to consider a top 5 pick at edge, if that guy falls to 25, Abdul Carter, thank you. You take him no matter what.
Man, Seth, this is my own ignorance as much as it is yours, so this is not a dunk on you. But I was thinking, well, the only edge guy that I know right now for sure is Abdul Carter, and so I don't want to sound dumb. But it was him. It was him. Fantastic.
Yeah.
It was him.
No,
yes, he's hurt and still excellent. Yes.
Yeah, someone like that drops to you, you take them. An elite wide receiver, honestly, is a slightly more team-dependent thing because it's easier to find competent wide receivers than it is to find a competent left tackle. You can find a competent receiver. You just got to overpay for him a little bit. Left tackle, they're literally not available. It's not just we'll have to overpay like you do with guard or center or wide receiver or tight end or maybe corner sometimes or safety. Almost any other position. It's like edge rusher, often defensive tackle, but not always. Edge rusher, left tackle, those and quarterback. Those are they're never available. So I think I would go for it.
There you go. We'll see if he's there. My hunch at this point is that I don't even know who has the pick at 20, but somewhere in the right around the turn of the late teens, early 20s, there it feels like somebody else is going to have this conversation. Yeah, our medicals are pretty good. It's worth the risk.
Yep, we got to go for it.
The Chiefs. There are not 32 franchise left tackles out there, and there are a lot of teams picking in front of the Chiefs. In fact, all but one. Sorry to bring that back up.
Dang.
That last guy, I would rather than be picking behind everybody, but such is life. We have done a full show. We've done it in 3 different chunks. Me and Nate, all 3 of us now. Seth, just you and me. I don't know if you have an outro in mind. If not, I'll tell you what we talked about before you joined and before we got to the tackle situation, is that Tucker is now an engaged man. Nate and I celebrated this. We shared some things. Nate gave some really bad advice, and I'm curious if you, on the way out here, might have anything that you want Tucker or Tara to know as they enter this engaged season of their lives, with everybody rooting for them to end up in a married season of their lives after that one.
Absolutely. I'll go sincere. That's I know it's the worst.
All right, we'll talk to you on Thursday. Bye, everybody.
On a side note, my new boss asked, she was like, "Oh, do you need me to cover that last hearing so you can go, do your podcast?" And I was like,
she rules.
She does rule. Shout out. Well,
I don't. I don't. I will. Yeah, I don't
she does rule, but and then she was like, "So
I'll get a shirt with her face on it if this keeps up." I mean, that's if she wants to be on the show.
She asked a question that was kind of to describe our podcast, and I was like, I really don't have a good answer for you. She's like, "Well, I'm not that interested in football." I said, "That might not matter, honestly."
Yeah. How do you feel about the Old Testament?
Yeah. No, I told her about you when it was just you and me. Man, I am so thrilled for Tucker and Tara. I'm just really excited for the speech they're inevitably going to ask me to give at their wedding and the ceremony that I'm sure they'll ask me to officiate.
Mm-hmm. Seth, you left my wedding early.
I did. I had to.
Would you have stayed if we asked you to officiate? Was that what that was about?
Would you ask me to officiate? I would have said, "Please don't. I'll cry." And the guy who did yours did such a fantastic job. And if I recall, I had to be back up north like the next day. And so Jazz and I had to get a very early start. I felt terrible about it. But let's face it, everyone feels more comfortable partying when I leave. Like no one's like, oh, Seth's still here. That's great. Hey, Seth.
I mean, Seth, I certainly would have appreciated you being there to celebrate more of the happiest day of my life. But that's fine. I mean, I'm sure you had
the happiest day of your life wasn't the first time we did radio together.
Second time.
Well, okay, phew. So I would just say, I'll tell you what.
First time I was too nervous.
Marriage is a lot like a light lamp that you use to reflect the goodness of your life. I haven't
been married that long, Tucker, but I think marriage is like a podcast. Sometimes it's not as good as you want it to be, but you've got to do it anyway.
And sometimes out of nowhere, it ends.